So welcome everybody. Actually, I should start with chit chat because normally it doesn't start straight away. Now I think the view count started going. So probably we're live. The chat can let us know. So hello everyone. This is Rocket Lab Weekly episode 108. And today we have Scotto and Matt Money with us, the real Matt Money. How is everyone doing this week?
It's good. It was a good week. It felt like every day this week you got some sort of good news. It was Tuesday, I guess. EOS Energy, they announced they dropped 3 PRs back to back. They're awarded $24 million from the state of Pennsylvania to go towards their new facility that's opening in 2026, and that's ultimately going to 8x their current capacity. And then Wednesday we had Tesla earnings, which is like, nothing too like unexpected there, but I mean, it's good to hear the Optimus coming along, the energy division coming along, full self-driving stuff. But like my main takeaway from that was kind of indirectly EOS related as well, because Tesla, they're building their mega packs out of Lathrop and Shanghai, 40 gigawatt hours each for those facilities, and they're talking about a new 50 gigawatt hour facility in Texas, so 130 gigawatt hours total. One of the points of criticism that EOS often gets is like, is there any demand for these batteries? And when you see Tesla building 130 gigawatt hours and the EOS building 8 by comparison, it's a pretty optimistic for EOS's future. And then I think it was Thursday, we got some Rocket Lab news that we'll go over, but it was very, very vindicating, very cool to see. But yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit here. Maddie, how was your week?
Good as always. I think I consolidated some of my positions to be more in line with smaller is good. The smaller number of positions is good. So nothing to do with Rocket Lab, but I sold out a SoFi. Not that I think I'm bearish on the company or anything like that. I think SoFi is a great company. I think they'll continue to do well, but I just have a lot more certainty around Amazon, and so I made that transition. But other than that, continued to keep on with Rocket Lab, and I think last week I bought a little bit more. I think we probably talked about that last week, so I don't have to reiterate it again. But yeah, so far everything's doing well.
Awesome. Yeah, I also had a great week. I'm just listening if I hear my kid or Scotto's kid. I don't know. We hear a kid.
Mine's making some sounds too.
Okay. I was yeah, for the people listening, I might my wife is sick and I might need to run to handle my son. So hopefully it doesn't happen during the stream. But anyways, I had also a great week. Actually, today I became a certified beekeeper. I finished my course, so that was pretty interesting. I'm sure on Twitter you have seen my missteps when I get stung and my face blown out and different body parts blew up. And I got my new iPhone, the new 17 Pro Max, and I upgraded from the 13 Pro Max. So like I waited 4 years to upgrade, and OMG, what a freaking difference. I love the phone.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I said love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. So this week we had a very interesting Rocket Lab week. So I want to get right into it. There is some very interesting news to cover. So we start with the standard and boring one, if you will. First, so earnings date was announced. It is the 10th of November. It will be on a Monday. And I'm going to try to see if we can get an interview with you guys know the big boss. And yeah, what are you guys? What are you guys' expectation, and what are you like numbers wise? I think we can. It's two more Rocket Lab weeklies, so we can cover it in the next Rocket Lab weeklies. But what are you guys looking for in this earnings? Like, what do you think is the most important?
It's a good question. I mean, I don't think we'll get too many surprises in terms of launch announcements, because we did just have that batch of 10 that were signed. I think like it kind of seems like they're announcing them as they go through this quarter. Like sometimes it's just they're kind of quiet, and then earnings is out, and they're just like, hey, we got a whole bunch with BlackSky or whoever else. But this one, it seems like they're kind of announcing them as they come up. So I'm not too sure with that. I'm really hoping they announce a certain customer. I don't want to spoil anything later in the episode, but I mean, come on, like at this point, just spill the beans. What are you guys expecting?
I think it's going to be interesting, right? So we have another launch planned for the 5th of November. So that'll be the 16th, or sorry, the 21st launch in 366 days. So unfortunately, it'll still be a 20 launch cadence in 365 days, but it'll be nice because that matches the amount of launches that we had in 2024 as a whole. And so for being 16 total launches in year. So I'm kind of curious to see, what kind of guidance we can get if they still anticipate to have 20, or maybe even slightly more, because you think about it, they'll get the 5th one off. Sorry, not the 5th one, but they'll get the 16th one off on the 5th of November, and you have almost 2 whole months left. So hopefully we'll have some guidance on that. And it is still, 2 months left in the year as well. So I feel like that's enough time to know whether or not you're on track or not to be at able to get it on the pad and potentially do some static testing and or launch the Neutron rocket. So hopefully we'll have a lot of details around that. And I'm not necessarily too concerned particularly about the financials of the organization. I feel like right now those are doing well. I just want to know a little bit more about some of these deals, how they're showing up, what future deals we can kind of look to and expect in 2026 and beyond. At this point, I'm fairly confident, unless there's some sort of showstopper, that Neutron is going to be happening within the next 6 months. And so to me, I'm more so looking towards the latter half of next year in terms of when we kind of hit some sort of EBITDA break even or positivity. And I'm not, saying, oh, thou shall or anything like that. I just know it's something that's around the corner, and I'm excited to see it happen, because then we can start figuring out a little bit more about, how do we address the future of the company in terms of stability and not having to tap equity as much as we have been, and diluting shareholders as much, which if they need to, and it's an accretive opportunity, I don't not mind that piece. But so I think that in that respect, I think it's going to be very interesting. In previous 3Q calls, I believe they've given manifests. I think in the 2023 call, they gave the 2024 manifest, and I think everyone held them to it. So I don't know if we could expect one for 2026, because I think everyone's going to kind of be, if they put out a manifest, like, but you said you had, however many launches. But I'd be curious to see if they give any sort of inkling as to, okay, we're on track for, say, 20 odd launches for 2025. Do they think they'll be able to get 20% or 30% or 40% more than that going into 2026? Meaning, are they aiming for the high 20s? Are they aiming for just 24 launches? Are they aiming just to match what they did in 2025? So I think that it'll be a very interesting call, because we get it closer and closer to 2026, which opens up a whole new 12-month window. And I think at this point, everyone's been really focusing towards the end of the year, specifically around Neutron. So very curious to kind of get my eyes off of that. To me, the closer we get to Neutron, the more we can focus on the future of the company, as we've talked about, or at least I haven't talked about it, but Sir Peter Beck and many others have talked about it. This is an enabler to space, right? It's not the end goal. Neutron is really just the beginning. So I'm kind of curious to get over this hump and hear about what's beyond, because I truly think that this is just the beginning of the company. And I think everyone's putting a lot of importance on this, like it's just as if it's the end goal. I think it's just a step in the direction that we're heading. So.
Yeah, very well said. I mean, for me, all eyes are on Neutron, and I really want to hear an update on the chances of it still happening in 2025 are getting slimmer by the day. Then I really want to see if they give any clues on next acquisition targets, because we know from speaking with management on the LC3 opening that they are still very much in the process of looking for new companies to acquire. And Adam Spice said that some of the companies are way bigger than what they should be looking at. So very curious if we hear from that. and I really want to see the backlog start moving. Those are the things that I will be looking out for on the earnings call. Cool. We go to the next one. I mean, we have kind of segued into this. So no, sorry, this is not launch yet. So built, integrated, and preparing to fuel the future. So they have completed, this is the Space Systems Department, their LOXSAT cryogenic fueling mission. So meaning Rocket Lab completed their spacecraft that is going to launch on Electron, and it's going to undergo certain testings before it launches in early 2026. For those of you who are not into this LOXSAT mission is to basically test a concept of having an orbital fuel depot. And they're going to, as far as I understand, test the concept of liquid oxygen and how they can have it stay in a cryogenic form, because when you're in orbit, when the sun shines on you, it can get 120 degrees, and when you are in the shade, it can be like minus 200 degrees. And cryogenic means very low temperature, and then I guess they found a way how to keep the temperature of the fuel very even. I don't know if you guys want to comment anything on this, or you have anything to add.
No, I mean, it'll be one additional tool to have in their belt for sure. It seems like kind of no matter which mission you look at it, they're constantly learning something new, and they just continue to bring those learnings forward, and it just continues to benefit them. So it's cool to see, and it's cool to be kind of like paid, like R&D that's being paid for Rocket Lab in a sense. So yeah, it's cool to see.
And what's really interesting.
Oh, go ahead.
I just want to quickly say that the orbital refueling has never been done. So neither SpaceX nor Blue Origin nor anybody has ever successfully demonstrated this in any meaningful quantity. So it might be something that Rocket Lab does before SpaceX.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting, right? So the Photon was originally designed specifically for Electron and the ability to kind of launch off of that. And so now that we're kind of thinking about, the step forward, this is, I think, is a step in the right direction just to test something out. And as you kind of think about it, the larger of a satellite that you're able to put up there, the more fuel you'll be able to have. And so I'm kind of curious if this obviously is a stepping stone to potentially larger opportunities and projects. So this will be a good project to kind of start off with. But I'm curious to see how it expands in terms of magnitude, as well as anyway, when we step it up for Neutron and potentially other opportunities as well. But I think it's a great opportunity. Photon, obviously, and Electron being cheaper opportunities to test than, say, utilizing a Falcon 9 or something like that. But eventually the hope is, in my thought, I don't know, I'm just speculating here, that eventually they'll utilize a larger satellite that can be implemented and launched utilizing the 13,000 kilogram cadence, or not cadence, tonnage that is available on Neutron, or at least partially more.
All right. Cool. So now we go back into launches. So the next launch has been announced to the 5th of November. I believe this will be the second one this quarter, and this will put the yearly launches at 16. So to reach the 20, we need 4 more launches, and there is plenty of time to do that. Our Scotto here has published what is left in the backlog in Q4 2025, and as you can see, what I count here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 more launches, and we're at 15. So you have it up to 21 launches this year. I don't know if you want to add more color to this, and if there is any, because is there any possibility of surprises being pulled into Q4, or this is kind of what we can realistically expect now?
No, this is like the basement, in my opinion, because not shown on the screen. there's like a whole list of 11 more launches that are just simply like 2025 that we don't know. So actually, maybe the 11, sorry, the 11 is inclusive of the ones on the screen. So there could be as many as 11. And granted, like realistically, these are going to be bumped forward. But Maddie, as you were talking about what to expect in 2026, I did a quick count, and we're already sitting at 20 launches expected for 2026. So it's like, it's kind of like a beautiful situation where even if, like, say the launches on the screen are the only ones that happened, all the ones that are just simply listed as 2025 that get pushed forward, now we're looking at an even better comparison between 2025 and 2026. So we already have a nice year-over-year comparison between 24 and 25. And now it's like, just kind of no matter which way you slice it, 2026 is going to be a great year for Rocket Lab. So yeah, plenty, like nothing but upside from here.
Awesome. So just to understand, so like when you say that we have 20 expected, it's not including this 11 that you mentioned. So meaning that if we only get 5, then it means 6 gets pushed into. So we would be at 20 this year and 26 expected next year.
Yeah.
Plus or minus 1.
Yeah.
It's my late math.
Yeah, expect more in 2026 than 2025, and yeah, gonna be a good year.
Cool. Matt, anything you want to add to this?
No, I think just curious to see where we end up for the year, and I'm tracking it. So I need to figure out what the next date is, I guess, after the 5th of, or the 4th, the 5th of 2024. What date we need to track towards so that we know. I'll find that out actually right now in the background. Go ahead to the next one.
That's cool. In a way, your table is a lot more forward-looking than it seems, because like you reach the 20 within 1 year before we reach the year, if you understand what I mean. So I'm more excited about your table moving up into like 21, 22, 23, 24 than I am actually about the launches. But cool. Can't wait to hear your number. So the next one is we keep getting updates from New Zealand, out of all places, about neutron structures appearing. And I really am wondering, I hope we can ask Sir Peter Beck about this, if this is a next Electron stage. I don't think that this is the current Electron stage that they want to fly very soon, because I believe that we have seen pictures where they were more ahead than these structures. I did a little bit of research because I was like, did I miss that they are automating these machines in New Zealand? I actually didn't know that they are making Neutron parts in New Zealand, and I went back in the investor presentations and I found that they added this automated fiber placement machine, but it's in Middle River, MD. What is MD? That's
Maryland.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm quite surprised to see these images from New Zealand. I don't know if this is like a change in the plans. I don't know what you guys know about this. I'm curious also, you guys in the comments, if you know more than us. I'm open to everything. I'm
kind of in the same like mindset. Like I'm hoping this is the second Neutron, because we do know that they are building like as of the LC3 two Neutrons are being built, and there are parts for 3 already in production. So what we see on the screen isn't necessarily Neutron 1. Hopefully it's Neutron 2, but I mean, I guess we'll hopefully know in the next few weeks here. Maybe, hopefully even on the call, maybe they'll shed some light in terms of where things are at, if they are on the barge, if they're being like stored, or what exactly is going on.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, there's going to be a lot of parts floating around. I mean, I definitely think that they are building a lot of different things, but I think one of the things you need to recognize is you're not building the entire structure in Maryland, like you have to still put it together, and so you might be building certain like pieces of the I guess the hippo fairing and everything like that, like the two slices that come together, but the assembly itself might be done in the particular plant that is seen here. So yeah, kind of curious to see what ends up happening. This might just be a marrying site. What I mean by marrying site is that this is where they potentially put a lot of these panels together and actually make it an actual stage one complete structure. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to get a little bit more detail and dive into it. But yeah, we've seen that big printer at work, but you've seen that big printer is printing particular panels. It's not printing an entire machine, right? You can see it's made up of multiple panels, not one large circular, 6-meter diameter item that just gets like rolled around, right? It has to be put together by panel. So curious to see where that happens. I anticipate that it's happening partly in New Zealand.
Well, all right. Very, very interesting. So we go to the next one, and that is the big one. That is the title of the show. So it looks like Scotto has confirmed that Rocket Lab does have a contract with Amazon and the Kuiper constellation. Scotto, do you want to explain how you came to this? And yeah, a little bit of
I mean, how much time do we got?
as much as you want. It's a very interesting topic.
I mean, I'll kind of expedite because like there's a long history of the whole Amazon Rocket Lab thing. Because yeah, if you just look at the one data sheet, it's easy to just kind of be like, yeah, maybe it's a coincidence. But I mean, I guess the whole rumor started with Peter Beck during one interview. He was just talking about the customers that he had, and Vince, you might even have that clip, right?
Yeah, I can show it.
Let's take a look. We'll see where it all started here.
Okay, so tell me if there is sound.
And then on the space system side, obviously we have probably a lot more commercial with respect to constellation builds with the Global Star contract and VADA and all the.
There it was again
with the Global Star contract and respect to constellation builds with the.
That was very clearly Amazon.
Yeah, so I mean, when that first came out, it was like maybe, like it's not impossible, but at the time they were a much smaller company, so it seemed very outlandish to give that sort of any credibility. But then it was in, I guess, late 2024, Rocket Lab updated their 12 Newton meter second reaction wheel. That's their high volume reaction wheel. They updated the data sheet for that, and on there it mentioned that there are 8 PFM units in orbit as of October 2023. Actually, the one on the left there. So PFM, that means prototype flight model. So why that's relevant is in October of 2023, Amazon launched 2 prototype Kuiper sats on an Atlas V. So the simple math there is typically satellites have 3 to 4 reaction wheels. So simply take the 8 reaction wheels divided by 4, 2 satellites. So that lines up, right? And I mean, there are other little breadcrumbs along the way. But then, Vince, if you want to go to the new updated data sheet. So this is dated September 2025. There is now a mention that there are, 416 units. And to make a long story short, you just simply do that divided by 4 reaction wheels per satellite. And this again lines up perfectly with Amazon. So technically it's still not confirmed, but it's to the point where it's like, how many vectors do you need pointing in the same direction for it to be confirmed, right? So as we kind of look ahead, sorry, go ahead, Vince.
No, it's so funny that they say 416 plus. So it's technically, we don't know that it could be 420, it could be, yeah. So, but as you said,
Yeah, and to take it one step further, the second generation, so second being the generation past the prototype flight model, those first the second generation first flights were in 2025. Guess whose first flights were in 2025? So where it gets a little bit messy is we're kind of unclear if like how many reaction wheels were delivered in 2024 and whatnot, and like where exactly or how exactly that revenue would be recognized. It seems like it would be at point of delivery, but then there was a little bit of a delay with everything Kuiper related. So it's not clear if Rocket Lab met that 2,000 reaction wheel guideline for 2024, how exactly that worked. But as we kind of look ahead as well, it's I guess interesting to consider what happens next with Amazon Kuiper, because they are supposed to deliver up to 50% of their planned constellation of 3,200 and some odd satellites. But like 50% of that would be 1,780 satellites. And by the end of the year, they're only expecting to have 203 delivered. So if you kind of roll that forward, I guess all to say is I don't understand how they're going to meet that deadline. And like the whole concern is like the FCC could pull their licenses if they don't get half that constellation up by mid 2026. I just don't see who is going to be launching. So, but yeah, it's cool to have that quasi confirmation of Amazon being this customer again. What are you guys' thoughts on it?
I'm very curious. What does it mean financially going forward for the company? Because if we say that, okay, because as you said, like if they should get paid for these upon delivery, and Amazon has ordered the satellites, even if they can't launch them, then they do need to produce 1,000 satellites times 4. That's 4,000 reaction wheels. Give it over and get paid for those. No.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the simple math is there are, like I mentioned, there's 3,236 satellites that are expected for this first tier of the Kuiper constellation. So you take the number of satellites, the 3,200, multiply that by 4 wheels per satellite. You're looking at, we'll just round it up nice and even, 13,000 wheels for this first stage of the constellation. Now, where it gets a little bit messy is the average selling price for these reaction wheels. The first data sheet, so this is like even before the first mention of the 8 prototype flight models, the first data sheet, there was originally 2 different versions of this 12 Newton meter second reaction wheel. One was the standard, the other was a rad hard version. So it's just as it sounds like, it's just like it deals with radiation better. So it could be a slightly different orbit. But long story short, the standard model got kind of wiped away, and it's just down to that one rad hard version. Now, the original pricing for these wheels was 100,000 per wheel to 100,000 to 120,000, depending on the model of the satellite. But the issue with that is like, or I shouldn't say issue. Rocket Lab was able to bring the cost to build these satellites down by an order of magnitude, as quoted from Adam Spice. So even if these satellites even if the units were being sold at 20,000 per wheel, multiply that 20,000 per wheel by 13,000 satellites, you're looking at $260 million. So said differently, this is the equivalent of 5 Neutron launches. Just this first wave of Kuiper sats. And keep in mind, these are going to need to be perpetually replenished. So it's not just a one-off thing. This is recurring revenue. So it's
very about 5 to 7 years that they'd have to replace.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's always generally when I look at something that's going into LEO, I'm generally thinking, okay, yes, you get however many per annum, but then in 5 to 7 years you have to replace. So that plays a factor into it, positively or negatively, right? I mean, because you can't just be like, oh, we're putting a satellite into space and saying it's going to last for 100 years, right? It's potentially, depending on where it is, might only be 5 to 7. But if it's really deep orbit, then it might be, closer to 15 or 30. But it really just depends. But I think that's interesting that you've noted this. I'm curious if it's really just more than the reaction wheels. I mean, you think about how much Rocket Lab has been able to acquire in terms of communications and solar panels. It's like I'm very optimistic that Kuiper is likely utilizing other components from Rocket Lab as well. I don't think that people truly understand how wide the Solero umbrella really spans across the space industry. But yeah, this is a really good find, and I know it's something you've been rumoring for quite some time. So great detective work.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really great work.
I can't take all the credit, by the way. This is like
God
with
damn it,
anything
Scott!
here.
Take the credit. No, I'm just kidding.
Very cool to see.
But by the way, so here's the tinfoil hat question. So why do you think this is not announced or not made more public? Because I mean, it's like we don't know the price of these reaction wheels. What Scotto said, the 20,000 is an 80% discount. I somehow have a hard time to believe that there was an 80% discount on them. So if we go to 60% discount, it's $500 something million, which is currently the yearly revenue of Rocket Lab, which would come in on a stable, reoccurring contract. I mean, it feels like that's something that is, how do you call it, like meaningfully important to know for investors in order to make educated decisions to invest in Rocket Lab, So I why do you think that it's not like, I don't know, even if you can't disclose the customer, that they cannot say that we have gotten such a contract, undisclosed customer?
I see the perfect comment. SpongeRob just wrote, "Is it Jeff's ego preventing announcing the contract?" like kind of, honestly. So there's this book called Space Barons, and it goes into the early days of Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, and SpaceX. What I find fascinating, what I think a lot of people don't maybe realize, is when you look at SpaceX, and you could say like SpaceX has been around since I think 2021, and it's kind of like, well, yeah, wow, look how far they've come. What a lot of people don't realize is Blue Origin's been around for, I think, 1 year less than that, right? Because we look at what SpaceX is doing and what Blue Origin is doing, they're very different outputs, right? But
I think Blue Origin is older than SpaceX.
Oh, is it actually? I know they're like roughly 20 years both, so something like that. But they're both like multi-decade companies.
He meant 21 years, not 2021.
Right.
The year 2021. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like 2001 and 2002 respectively, I think. I don't know what I said. I don't know. Either way, 20 years, give or take, for both of the companies. And I found the book really interesting because you don't hear about Blue Origin's history. And the author kind of goes on to detail of they're very, very intentional with you not knowing their history. For what? And I don't understand why, because if you guys remember when Optimus was first shown off, it was literally a human in a robot suit. And people like to clown on that, but it was like, you kind of look at it now, that was a recruiting event, right? Because Tesla went up and the whole agenda was like, we want the best to come work for us. What does that mean?
I don't know if you see it. So Blue Origin is 2 years older than SpaceX.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. So jeez. But with the Optimus event, the whole thing was about recruiting. And you think that would kind of, and I mean, maybe it has, judging by the results, maybe that has worked against Blue Origin of trying to be the tortoise to SpaceX's hair. Maybe they should have been more outward about this is what we're doing. We want to recruit, but for whatever reason, they just love to be quiet. So I think that's all that it is.
There is some piece about the boisterousness of SpaceX that I think is in your face and maybe
Mhm.
too American that puts some people off internationally. And so I think that there's a piece of that as well, where it's just like, you know what, just shut up, get your work done, and just deliver through execution, which I think a lot of people respect from Rocket Lab and maybe even respect from Blue Origin than kind of the, hey, we're gonna brunt our way through regulatory and whatever we need. That kind of SpaceX has done, and it works for them. But at the same time, you're now starting to see the hurdles that SpaceX is trying to see internationally. Maybe not necessarily from the Starlink perspective, but yeah, if you were to say, like, I don't think that you would see a SpaceX hypersonic rocket being used for potential NATO purposes because in Europe, right? But you are starting to see that for say Rocket Lab. So interesting different ways of conducting business. But yeah, it's very interesting that you now note it. They kind of just get it done rather than telling everybody and marketing it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going to go on the opposite side of this argument, because I feel that if you look at regulations about having to inform your investors, like, I think that this is such a material contract that regardless if Jeff wants it or not, like, Rocket Lab would have to describe that we have an undisclosed customer. So I think it might be that the contract is in stages, or it's not like fully sure that like as you mentioned, Scotto, that like maybe they become too delayed, and then the FCC cancels it, and then out of an abundance of caution, the contracts are written that it can be canceled at any time. So Rocket Lab is like not because I believe that if they had a contract on their table that is like, okay, you're the supplier for the next 50 years of all the replenishing of all the satellites, I think like Rocket Lab per regulations would have to disclose that to investors.
That's a good point. Because like I was saying, I don't like there's no way that Amazon is going to hit this deadline, because let me just bring it up to make sure I'm accurate. They have currently launched on 2 Falcon 9s and 3 Atlas 5s, 4 if you include the demo sats. And the Vulcan's not even going to be ready till mid 2026, and you can't go to SpaceX now and be like, hey, sorry, we're late. Can we get a ride now? I think that Blue Origin really shot themselves in the foot, or I guess Amazon really shot themselves in the foot by being what I would consider fiscally irresponsible and being like, no, we're not going to go with SpaceX. That's what they should have done, in my opinion, because Atlas 5's clearly not delivering. I mean, to say it different, Atlas 5's on track to hit 8 launches in total this year. And even if they hit 15 in the first half of next year, they're only going to be at 600 of those, 1,600 satellites. So like or I guess 1,800. So they're like not even coming close. There is just no way. Now, realistically, like they'll just go to the FCC. Can we get an extension? FCC will say yeah. But I think for now, maybe they are just being, I don't know, quiet about it. And Vince, you mentioned the $20,000 price mark. The way that I've kind of indirectly arrived at that is under the assumption of 2,000 reaction wheels being delivered last year, and the 10% threshold that you need to announce the customer in terms of revenue. I hope that made sense. But essentially, if you were to just do the quick math, the reaction wheels, if they did deliver 2,000 last year, the reaction wheels would be, I think it's like 18,000 and some change. So either they didn't deliver all those reaction wheels, or the reaction wheels are less than $18,000 a piece, which is like, I don't know which one is which, but it would make a lot of sense given the time frames that they didn't take on all 2,000 of those reaction wheels because of all the delays. So, yeah.
All right. Interesting. Well, we see if we. Do you think when we have Sir Peter back on, we can show him this research, and then we're like, can you comment on this? And no, probably not. It would not go through. Yeah.
They might make us take it out of the pre-sent questions.
Yeah. They hear that we're planning to do this, and then they're like, "Sorry, guys, Sir Peter Beck is busy this time."
I wonder if we could ask like indirectly, just say like, is there a time frame for when we'll know the customer? Because then at least maybe like just based on the math of like if they do start to get things rolling with the deliveries, well, like we can assume we'll know by the end of next year. I guess it would like kind of have to be outed, right? And like just based on that 10% revenue mark.
And I think if you announce it too publicly, then you'll have other people trying to compete, right? Because they might only have had, like you said, like the first tranche of units, like you stated. And if that's the case, then you might have other people come out of the woodwork, right? Like we have that all the time in the oil and gas industry. You make a discovery, next thing you know, you have people knocking on your door like, hey, do you need this? Do you need that? Because they know everything trickles downhill, right? Like you have the money, you're the one that's enabling all these projects, but you're hiring all these contractors to subcontract out all this stuff. So I feel like it's probably something very comparable in the space industry. Very different and disparate industries, but I'm sure it's a similar concept.
Yeah. Cool. So that was all the Rocket Lab news, but there was, this is also related to Rocket Lab. So I don't know if you guys have seen the acting director of NASA, Sean Duffy, if I say it correctly. He went on TV and he said this. Please let me know if we have sound.
Now, SpaceX had the contract for Artemis 3. By the way, I love SpaceX. It's an amazing company. The problem is they're behind. They pushed their timelines out, and we're in a race against China. The president and I want to get to the moon in this president's term. So I'm going to open up the contract. I'm going to let other space companies compete with SpaceX, like Blue Origin. And again, whatever one can get us there first to the moon, we're going to take. And if SpaceX is behind, but Blue Origin can do it before them, good on Blue Origin. But by the way, we also might have two companies that can get us back to the moon in 2028. But again, we're not going to wait for one company. We're going to push this forward and win the second space race against the Chinese, get back to the moon, set up a camp, a base, and from there, we're going to figure out how we can actually get to Mars.
So one thing that was very interesting is his logic that if SpaceX is going slow, then we call in Blue Origin for help because they will do it faster. I don't follow that logic. I first thought that this was like an AI joke or something, but he actually said this. But what is interesting is he says that or other companies, and we know of a company from New Zealand that is very good on keeping budgets and timelines. I'm not sure that they would be able to keep the timeline to launch within Trump's first term, but still. So what did you guys? Yeah, I'm sure you have seen this. What was your guys' reaction to this and thoughts?
I don't get it. I don't have much more to say. It's just I don't know. It's a very very interesting take. I don't know how well thought out it was, but
yeah,
I don't know enough about the situation to really know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and since this announcement, like Elon Musk went on a Twitter tirade against this guy, and he called him a monkey, and he was saying that he's not advocating for any specific director for NASA, just anyone but him. And Eric Berger has written an article about this, like what could have happened. And I mean, it is true that SpaceX is delayed compared to their own targets. But when this guy says that he opens up the contract to Blue Origin has already won the human lander contract. So it was SpaceX and Blue Origin that was awarded these contracts. But it says here that they had a different concept, that there is a cargo vehicle that they developed for the moon, which was called MK1. And then somehow Blue Origin was saying that they could modify this much quicker to like be a human lander on the moon. But So in this article, he's saying that Trump was pushing that the commercial space industry needs to be gotten up to gear and they need to get us back to the moon. And this guy is talking about a cost plus contract going back to the old ways. And according to a NASA estimate, it would cost like $30 billion to do this. And the SpaceX contract, I believe, was $2.8 billion to get us back to the moon. So like 10x the cost and going back to the old ways, which resulted in only cost increases and missed timelines. So really, I really don't get it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's interesting to me as well. I mean, when I had some visitors here over the past year, we go to Johnson Space Center, just southeast of Houston here, and they have some really good videos about the Artemis program and everything like that, and they explicitly state that Blue Origin and SpaceX had both won contracts. So I'm not 100% certain as to what they're kind of referring to, and both of them were referring to specifically the moon missions and what Artemis 2 and 3 and 4 are all aimed to do, right? And I don't think they've really explicitly stated much beyond Artemis 4 or 5, beyond what's stated for the public. And if anyone does, I'm curious, because that obviously is starting to get to the point where you're talking about going to Mars and everything like that. But at least from what I've seen, Artemis 4 or 5, it's about pretty much figuring out how to reestablish some sort of moon space station that kind of orbits, and then you have a lander that can go back and forth between. So that way you have the ability to kind of like how on the International Space Station you can kind of live for months at a time. You can almost do the same with the moon, right? You have the ability to kind of go up and go down to the moon as necessary, and it makes it a little bit easier because the gravity is much less on the moon than it is on Earth. So interesting sort of thoughts, but yeah, I mean, both of them were explicitly stated in the promo video. So I don't know. The whole NASA administration, I think this needs a little bit of an overhaul. I think it's just needs some love. I've just grown weary and tired of it since we kind of got the Mars return sample non-announcement in January. And it was basically like, yeah, we know everyone submitted all this great work and all these great ideas, but we're going to go back to the drawing board and talk about it next year. It's like, come on, man. Like, why publicize this as some big announcement that you're going to have for it to be, hey, no, we're kicking the can down the road a year. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, my 2 cents on the whole NASA current administration.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Who do you guys want to see as head of NASA? Are we all on the Jared Isaacman camp, or is there someone else that you guys want to see?
I like Isaacman. I mean, selfishly, part of me wants him to just stay at Shift 4, but I think that he's how do I say? I think that he has a bigger purpose than just Shift 4. I think I can't think of a better candidate than Isaacman for NASA.
I think that now that you have this, so I'm in agreement, by the way, before I go on this monologue. I think you need somebody that has private industry experience that did not grow up in the public sector, because I think there's so much bureaucracy and processes and things like that just need to be stripped out of NASA and stripped out of how we do things in the government, that I think could really streamline the future of what we're potentially going to try to achieve. And I feel like that hasn't necessarily been done. I feel like we've just been removing budget from NASA, but we haven't been restructuring it. Maybe that's coming from a place of ignorance, and I appreciate that. I know nothing literally about what's been restructured over at NASA, but it just feels like there's just too much tape everywhere that everyone kind of has their silos within there, and you can't touch it or knock it down. So I feel like you just need a little bit of somebody with private experience, and I think Jared would be that guy that could be like, why are we spending so much on X, Y, and Z? Like, I've created something for a defense contractor and we were able to make it for X. Like, yes, you might be putting this into space rather than the air, but it shouldn't cost this. It should probably cost something closer to that. And he probably can find a good opportunity. And I feel like he would bring kind of like a Doge mindset kind of to NASA. But maybe that's my bias.
One thing that I do worry about with that is the share structure for Shift 4. Jared Isaacman has he basically, if he votes on something, that's what happens. And I worry that it would kind of frustrate him or burn him out going from that environment where it is very much like a Tesla-like environment at Shift 4, where they'll acquire a new company, kind of take what they need from that company, and then just streamline everything. And that's, unless you have the entire government on board, like the entire NASA structure on board, it's going to be very not what he's used to. That'd be my only concern with that, is just him kind of going into NASA feeling like he's going to make a change and then kind of being held up by bureaucracy. But at the same time, it's if he's able to surround himself with a team that ideally it's not just Jared Isaacman being brought into the bureaucrat show, right? Ideally, it's a lot of like-minded people are going to be brought on with him. I think that's the ideal path forward. So that's really the only concern I do have with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's also what happened to Musk, because I think he was doing really well on in terms of, I'm not speaking politically, but I'm saying as in terms of getting results on cutting money. And I think that he doesn't work well when he doesn't have 1,000% say on what's happening. He doesn't seem like the guy who can compromise. And then hope that the same doesn't happen with Jared Isaacman, because we do need to get things better. Even if it doesn't become perfect, it needs to move into a better direction. Cool. Scotto, I believe you sent me a link here about Khosla Ventures reshuffling a little bit of shares. Do you want to?
Yeah, someone in the chat was just asking about this, just looking for clarification. As you can see over time, Khosla Ventures, they were kind of early investors for Rocket Lab. And over time, they've just continued to, it looks like they're just getting rid of their shares, but what you're not seeing behind the scenes is this isn't necessarily selling. This is redistribution. So essentially the umbrella organization is just kind of cascading those shares downward to partners and friends, if you will. So it looks on paper like it's a 40% decrease to Khosla Ventures and a 7% decrease for VK Services. But in reality, those are probably just going to the people within the company. Or I mean, maybe they are just selling them outright too, which honestly you kind of can't blame them. They've been in since I think since the SPAC days. So it's kind of not surprising, but it's kind of worth mentioning as well that as their share count continues to decrease, it doesn't necessarily tell the whole story.
Yeah. So don't freak out.
Yeah. It's I think they're just you can see that's just kind of consistently over time. As soon as that lockup ended, they're just trickling those shares away. So yeah.
Cool.
Par for the course, really.
Yeah, cool. Well, I think this is a great point to end the show for this week, unless you guys want to say something else or mention something else.
No, I'm seeing a lot of comments about Redwire. It's going to be an exciting Q3. It's going to be the first glimpse into the new and improved Redwire. That Q2 print was really ugly because it was all the acquisition costs and whatnot, and that one-time project going over budget. So it's going to be exciting. And as far as if you should buy it or not, I don't do that advice. So
are you buying? Are you?
I'm not buying currently. I bought what was it? I think 840 was it? So I've already bought, and that was just buying back shares that I sold in, I think is right around 20. So that was just kind of buying back in. And I've been toying with the idea of buying the 4 earnings, but I don't think I will, because I'm not sure what to expect. If it does fall and I think it's unwarranted, it wouldn't take me much to to buy after Q3 if there's any sort of weakness. We'll put it that way.
All right. And the report is when?
I don't
next week,
think
I
they've
guess.
said, but they're almost always like within a day or two of Rocket Lab. So first week of November is safe to expect.
Cool.
Are you buying anything, Vince?
I'm collecting money. That's what I'm doing. I'm actually doing 4 more Airbnbs. It looks like it's like 96% sure. And next year, my income is going to be, it's looking very good. Let's put it this way.
What are you planning to buy, and why is it Shift 4?
I'm actually probably going to buy Shift 4. That was a very good one.
Yeah, for the viewers, we stuck around after last week's episode, and we probably talked for a good 20 minutes about Shift 4. Yeah.
And then it was so funny. Then the next day, I was like driving my son to hockey practice, and I was like watching your old Shift 4 videos.
Nice.
And then you sent it in the comment chat, like, by the way, check out these videos. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, we see what happens. So I'm the dirty bear. I'm hoping that when I have money, the market will be a lot cheaper than it is currently today. But
well, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and I think right now we're blessed by a good stock price. But selfishly, like you said, I would love to buy cheaper. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, they must have like in the money covered calls or something like that." I do not. I just would love to buy more. I'm here for a long time, not for a short time, right? I mean, I want to hold this company, potentially forever. Like if I still believe that there's long-term potential, I don't see a position why I would sell this company, especially with the fact that they're going to be announcing Constellation, more details around it, probably in the next 12 months. I don't see any need to want to take any sort of short-term profits here. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And so I'm willing to, these guys are willing to move on. These guys, you have to think, were invested in the company before it was even a SPAC. And so these guys, they've made their easy money in that respect. And so they're looking to move out and try to figure out what big investments they can make from this. I'm potentially utilizing this as what I can keep for the long term. So, but that's me. I think you have to play your own game, play your own race. Some people should be potentially selling out. Some people should be buying more. I think it really just depends on where you're at in your investing career. But to me, I'm continuing to buy the stock, and I'm curious to see where we go from here. I mean, I find it hard to believe that it'll go much less than 40% down from where we are today. Granted, some macroeconomic thing could really impact it, but to me, the sky's really the limit. In this case, the space is the limit, right? And we all know that space is limitless. So very curious to see where we are 10 years from now and what things are going to be working on then.
Cool. Yeah. And I'm trying to be more like Matt every day.
Nah, I try to be more like you.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much for today. It was a very good episode. Thank you for the audience. And hopefully see you guys next week when I think we dive more into the numbers and what we expect on the earnings.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Cool. All right. May your stocks stay green and sky stays blue and stocks stay green. I always mess it up.
What he said.
Exactly. You know the drill. All right.
Yeah. Cool.
Ciao,
Thank you all.
everyone.
Thanks, guys.